Okay, so if you're a marketer right now, let's be honest. It feels like you're caught in a full-blown maelstrom. It's not just a fast-moving river anymore, right? You've got AI tools, platforms, and strategies swirling all around you. And it is almost impossible to know which way is up. So today we're going to find a compass for that chaos.
I mean, has any description ever felt more accurate? This quote from the Martech for 2026 report just absolutely nails the current mood. It's this feeling of, infinite possibilities, but also infinite demands, and this overwhelming pressure to figure it all out while, still hitting your targets. You're in this constant state of catch up, where every new tool feels like it could be a life raft, but it also feels like another wave that's about to crash right over you.
All right, so let's try and ground this feeling in reality. What does this everything, everywhere maelstrom actually look like day to day? Because the scale of it, well, it's genuinely staggering. And to really get a sense of this, we don't need to look at a year's worth of news. We don't even need a month's worth. Let's just zoom in, way in, on a single week from just one of the major players in the space. It's the perfect microcosm of the macro chaos we're all feeling.
You ready for this? In just 1 week, OpenAI launched instant checkout inside ChatGPT. They dropped a whole new commerce protocol with Stripe, and they inked these massive, massive deals with both AMD and Broadcom for an almost unbelievable amount of new AI hardware. I mean, each one of these is a landscape-shifting announcement on its own, and they all happened within a few days of each other.
And speaking of that hardware, just for a little pop culture context, the source report points out something fun. Doc Brown's DeLorean time machine, it only needed 1.21 gigawatts to travel through time. The scale of the computing power that's being brought online for AI right now is, well, it's basically a whole fleet of time machines. It's insane.
Look, the main takeaway here is really simple. If you feel overwhelmed by all this, it just means you're paying attention. That feeling is completely valid. But overwhelm isn't a strategy, right? We need a way to make sense of it all. And that is where having a clear framework becomes absolutely essential.
So, how do we get from the problem to an actual solution? Well, instead of trying to track every single new tool that comes out, which is impossible, we can bring order to the chaos by thinking about AI in 3 really distinct domains. This framework, this is our compass.
But first, let's just get our terms straight. When we say AI agent, what are we actually talking about? We're talking about a system that does more than just analyze stuff or make suggestions. This is software that can actually perceive a situation, make a decision about what to do, and then take action to get it done.
So the first domain is probably the one we're all most familiar with, agents for marketers. Think of these as your behind-the-scenes partners. They're the tools that help you write better copy, or create video content, or analyze your campaign data, but the customer never actually sees them. They're part of your internal toolkit. Think about tools like Grammarly, helping you craft that perfect email subject line, or a tool like HeyGen, creating a whole video presentation from a script. They're powerful AI assistants, and they're working for you, the marketer, to make your work better and a whole lot faster. Okay, domain number 2, agents for customers. Now, these are the AI systems that you, as the marketer, actually deploy to interact directly with your audience. So think of a customer service chatbot, or maybe an AI that's deciding the next best offer for a specific user. The key thing to remember here is that you still control the strategy in the system. And we're seeing this play out in real time. I mean, major platforms like Salesforce and Braze are embedding these kinds of agents directly into their tools. They're basically becoming the new front line of automated, personalized interaction, and it's all being orchestrated by the marketing team. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. The third domain is the real game changer here. It's agents of customers. These are agents that your customers are using, totally outside of your control, to help them navigate their own buying journey, or summarize your marketing emails, or maybe even negotiate pricing on their behalf. Yeah, we're talking about tools like ChatGPT, Atlas, or travel apps like Hopper. These agents work for the consumer, not for you. They can read your website, compare your product to all your competitors, and find the absolute best deal, which it fundamentally changes the power dynamic. It means that perfectly crafted marketing funnel you spent months building, it's now just one of many inputs for an AI that's working on behalf of the consumer. And this quote just captures that jaw-on-the-floor moment that marketers have when they realize what these agents can do. Imagine a customer's agent visiting your pricing page and asking questions you never even anticipated.
calculating the real cost of your service beyond just your list price. That pristine website experience you crafted, yeah, it's now just a data source for someone else's AI.
So, if these three agent domains are our map, then what's the engine that's going to power them? Well, it all comes down to two things: data and context. Without them, none of this stuff works. It just doesn't. You've probably heard this a million times by now, but it is so worth repeating because it is the absolute foundation of everything. Your AI is only as smart as the data you feed it. A really powerful AI running on bad data will just get you bad results, only faster. And the data from the report backs this up completely. When marketers were asked about their biggest challenges with AI, what was number one? By a pretty wide margin, it's poor data quality. Over half of everyone they asked pointed to missing or stale or just inconsistent data as their main roadblock.
But here's the thing. Just having the data isn't enough. And that is where context comes in. Context is all about applying the right data to the right person at the right moment for the right reason. This whole process is becoming so critical that it's actually got its own name now: context engineering.
And as we apply that context, it's super important to understand the two types of systems we're working with. On one hand, you've got deterministic systems. These are predictable, right? Same input always gives you the same output. Think of a classic workflow automation. But on the other hand, you have probabilistic systems, like all the generative AI we see everywhere. Here, the same input can produce all kinds of different, often creative outputs. The real magic and the real challenge is in blending the two of them effectively. So we've talked about the compass and we've talked about the engine, but a ship also needs a captain. And in this story, the most important agent of all isn't software, it's you. This is Martech's law, and it basically defines the challenge of our era. The technology is accelerating at this insane exponential rate, but our ability as organizations to adapt, well, it moves at a much, much slower pace. That gap between those two curves, that is where companies either win or they lose. And your job is to help close that gap. And here's a great way to start thinking about that. Think of your tech stack as having two totally distinct jobs. You've got the factory, which is all about reliability and scaling the things that are working for you right now, but you also need the laboratory, a space for experimentation, for agility, for figuring out what the factory of the future is even going to look like. You have to fund and protect both. Ultimately, what this all comes down to is a choice. AI isn't some future trend. It's the current reality. It's here. The technology is already here. So the only real question left is about us. Who are you going to be? The person just keeping the old factory running, or the lead scientist who's busy inventing its future? The choice and the opportunity is yours.